But I'm curious what are the practices that you want to bring into 2026 around the internet specifically?
Right. Yeah. Well, I am going to be deleting my Instagram account. That will be my last social media account. So I'll be deleting that. It's interesting because I've had a few moments of like, oh, do I really want to do this? Because it is part of some relationships that I have where we send each other cute things or interesting things, whatever. But it's also the recognition like those specific relationships are relationships that are strong without these
Yes.
things. And it's not that I don't find cute things or find interesting things. Otherwise, it'll just be fewer and hopefully better things that I'll be sharing. But it's also just the recognition, like even those kind of innocent enjoyments for me are also just frittering my attention in ways I've become really clear about. There are things that I would like to be doing and things that I would like to be focusing on. And if I'm not willing to be ruthless with them now, when am I going to do it? You know? And I mean ruthless in the way of not being cruel, but just being very, very honest about what it is that I want to do. And am I willing to do what I need to do to focus on that? And if I didn't have the internet, it would be some other distraction that I would have to ask myself about. So that's, I think, something where, so that's one thing. So that's a deletion. That's a subtraction. What I am also trying to do and have been experimenting with over the last few months is building in a rhythm of input that is much slower. And what I mean by that is books, whether Kindle or hard copy, where I at least set myself 2 mornings a week to read a chapter or 2. And then I have a practice of reviewing. When I read, so I'll just share this right now. When I read, I just kind of like, pencil, make notes, what pops, whatever. And that's usually at the beginning of the week. And then towards the end of the week, I will go back. I will review the chapter or whatever I read. I will look at what I marked, like what did I underline, what did I make notes about or whatever. And I will decide what actually helps me think better about this topic. Like what is the core quote that really resonates? It's not every single thing that I highlighted or underlined. And then I will actually take a few minutes and just hand write those in a little notebook. Just kind of like further get familiar with the idea, think about it, make some notes. And then that becomes part of my process, like the input and kind of total thinking for when I do my writing and work on the weekends. And so that's the addition, like that's the input. And so when I do read newsletters, I have email newsletters that I subscribe to. Over this past year, I have probably unsubscribed from about 100 things. And I only read maybe a dozen now. And I have one morning where I read my email newsletters, and that's it. So that's a long-winded answer saying, like, there are a couple of things that I'm deleting, but there are a couple of things, like, it's not enough to just delete. Like, I need to figure out what is it that I'm going to be using that time for that I would otherwise have frittered. So that's a long-winded answer. What about you?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I actually shared some of the stuff that Han wrote with a colleague of mine, and he was unfamiliar with Han's work and Wikipedia'd it. He sent me this quote from his Wikipedia, which I thought was really funny. It says Han's current work focuses on transparency as a cultural norm created by neoliberal market forces, which he understands as the insatiable desire toward voluntary disclosure, bordering on the pornographic, which he does talk about that in the book. According to Han, the dictates of transparency enforce a totalitarian system of openness at the expense of other social values such as shame, secrecy, and trust. To rebel against digital capitalism, Han does not own a smartphone, does not engage in tourism, only listens to music in analog form, and has spent years cultivating a secret garden, an experience he describes in his book, In Praise of the Earth. So I have no idea what a secret garden is. I probably will continue to participate in tourism. I will say one thing that I am doing is thinking more critically about there's a like my entire ecosystem of existence, because and that's something that Megan and I have talked a lot about, and Megan's offered me a lot of really great coaching in over like the last months and years of my life, is like, we've talked a lot about like, okay, how do these things work in concert together? How do these things work? All these systems and processes and whatever. And a lot of reflection on those things has been that I've realized my phone is really the centerpiece of so much in my life. And it's kind of unhelpful, but it's a long process of like decoupling myself from my phone. So a couple of things I'm bringing into the new year is, one, I sound like I'm doing an advertisement for this. I'm not. It's not sponsored. I bought this thing called a brick. I don't know if have you seen this?
I've seen them,
it basically just creates a little bit of friction with your phone. So my brick sits on my fridge in the kitchen, and my phone locks at 9:30, and I just like can't get on pretty much anything. And I'm so bad at just like using my browser to get around stuff. You can block specific sites on your browser as well, up to 50 things I think you can block. So, and apps and stuff. So, and then I have to physically go downstairs and unbrick my phone in order to like get it to work again. So that has been, I'm going to engage more with that technology because I found it's super effective so far. Instead of like a screen time password, it's just more, the physical friction is really helpful for me. And then, so that's one thing. And then the other thing too, just like Han, and I did this apart from Han, but I guess we're just kindred spirits in that regard. My husband and I did buy a record player, and I know, and we're starting a little record collection because I realize that the way I consume music now is so different than the way I used to. And I don't even like know full albums the same way that I used to. And so I want to get back to that and really create a space where we're consuming media intentionally. So I don't know what that completely looks like. Obviously, my last two social medias are, well, I guess you can count three if you count Reddit, but are Blue Sky and TikTok. And Blue Sky, I really think the way they set up the algorithm there is an example of what it could be. Because I don't know about you, but I don't find the algorithm addicting at all. It's very easy for me to get off when I start scrolling.
Yeah. I actually ended up deleting my Blue Sky account too. So I was just kind of like, I just need to like, this just for me, it just felt like I needed to just do scorched earth with all of it. And if there's something where I really miss it, or if for work or professional life, there's something that would be helpful down the road, I'll kind of try to be, really thoughtful about how I incorporate and engage with that. But yeah, for me right now, I just felt like I need like scorched earth. But I do agree with you with how the Blue Sky, with how they have that set up, and how you can build your community on there. It's a lot. It seems quieter and a little more sane.
I would agree. I think you can customize the algorithm a little more intentionally there, where you just can't do that. And I also am not a huge Mark Zuckerberg fan, so anything related to Mark Zuckerberg, I personally am not going to participate in. As a millennial, I think it's unfair that he has a quarter of our wealth. So I'm not going to participate with that. So I don't have Threads anymore. I don't have Facebook. I haven't had Facebook in probably in 10 years. And I don't have Instagram. And I also don't participate in social medias that make it almost impossible for you to preview anything without an account. So Twitter is now done. It's been done. I've been done with that for about a year now. And I don't feel like I miss anything in that like hellscape of an app at this point. It was honestly, Twitter was really sucking the life out of me last year because I just go and like doom scroll and be like, what are people even saying? Like, what am I reading? And so you're just like, surely people aren't really thinking this. And it's just so depressing. But I just don't even engage anymore.
Yeah. Now, one thing, because I got a record player a couple of years ago as a Christmas gift. I had asked for it, and I was also given a record, helpfully, so I could play. And I was like learning, because it's been. I remember having a record player when I was growing up in the house. I don't remember it being used as much because it was when we were starting to get like cassette tapes and all this stuff. But I remember having a record player. So I was like starting to play it. I was like, wait, there's no pause button? There's no skip?
Nope.
And my dad's like,
You'll listen to the whole thing, you commit. And my kids were like, I don't know, this is going to be cool because then we have to listen to all the songs. I'm like, that is the point. That is how albums were made. They were made as a cohesive. So we actually bought our first two vinyls, and one was on sale, which I got the Queen's album, Night at the Opera. And it's such a great album. And I was like, oh, this would be perfect. Is it Night at the Opera? Is that what it's called? It's the one with like Bohemian Rhapsody, and it's a great album. I had the CD of it in college and used to listen to it all the time. Yeah, A Night at the Opera, yeah. And then the other one, which I couldn't tell you what it's called, but it's Hozier's newest album, which we've been listening to like crazy. I thought, oh, that'll be a great one to have.
Okay. Yeah. Are you guys going to focus on anything? Like, are you going to like have a specific kind of collection? Or do you like just
no,
whatever?
like, I mean, I think I will prioritize the kind of albums that are prioritizing the cohesive experience of the album, which I think for me, I've always thought of that album by Queen as being like a very cohesive listening experience. And I think that's what I'm really looking for right now is creating. I mean, I'm almost debating. No one's convinced in my house yet that we should do this, but I'm actually debating going back to physical movie media as well and getting rid of our subscriptions. But I don't know.
I'm thinking the DVDs that I got rid of, and I'm like, how would I even, one, that would be expensive to rebuy them, and I guess I would have to find some sort of DVD player to hook up to my computer now because I don't have a DVD player.
I'm like a Blu-ray or something. I don't know. So I'm debating that, but really want to, I guess the point is when you go in this direction, it forces you to have fewer options, but you can then make them higher quality.
Yeah. Things that really mean something to you. Like for me, like my vinyl collection is still really small, but I decided I wanted it to focus on like blues, and also things that were originally made in that era. Music like albums that were originally made in the vinyl era. And so kind of like I'm kind of focusing on that, which means I don't have very many things. But then when I do listen to them, like it's such a rich experience to just kind of sit down and let that fill the room.
Yeah. We're going to do some evaluation with our family around the common shared area and the noise that's going on in there, because there's a lot of screens and a lot of and that's something that I want to change in 2026, that it's a little more intentional downstairs where it's like, oh, we're listening to music and making dinner, and it's hard because we're a really fast moving family. We got a lot of people going a lot of different directions, but I think there is time. We're just not necessarily the digitization of time. We really lost track of time. And the other thing I'd say, maybe we'll say that. I don't know. Do you want to switch into the next topic seamlessly, or did you want?
What's that? So what do we want to do? Do we want to talk about, so next we want to kind of have a little review of our year and kind of maybe talk about what's next for the Chaos Club besides more chaos in 2026. Do you want to talk about like books we've read since we last talked, or do you just want to like kind of talk about the year as a whole real quick and just kind of
let's talk about the year as a whole, because honestly I haven't done a lot of reading in November and December, to be frank.
Do we want to just talk about like 5 stars and media, or 5 stars and what stands out from doing this?
I think
what do you want to do?
I mean, I can say that I think maybe what I would be interested in talking about is kind of my patterns of reading, but also like what
Yeah.
I hope to shift in my. I read a lot. I've read 98 books this year, which feels like a lot to me. I read a lot of different genres, and I feel like overall, like I had a pretty good time in the process. I will say, I think that the months I was most stressed at work correlated with the months I read the most. So, dude,
Understand that. Again, your job is to read. And if you're reading a lot
I
elsewhere,
will tell
it's a
you
lot.
too, there is something different about reading an unfinished manuscript and reading a manuscript that somebody else has done all the work on. Like, I just have a lot of respect for books that get published because there's so many hands that make that book work. The author, of course, is central, but
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of thought that
Yeah.
goes into making those books look the way they do, structured the way they do, feel the way they
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
I would say a lot. If you were to ask me, well, I can probably tell you what my fable tells me, my little AI summary of myself is. I'm a heartfelt reader. Contemporary struggles meet historical fantasy in your wide-ranging bookshelf. Deep currents of emotions flow between these stories, emotional lessons that strengthen you. I mean, that's fine. I've read a lot more than just that, though. I think I would love to do a stats on like how many women authors I read, how many authors of color I read, how many like genre wise. I think some of my favorite books this year were sort of like one thing I realized was that the classics are classics for a reason. I had two
Yeah.
classics that I gave 5 stars. One was A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and the other was Stoner by John Williams. And I thought both of them were absolutely fantastic, beautifully crafted book. I think reading more, there are more classics I'd like to get into. And so I think prioritizing a couple more classics next year will be on my list of things to do. And I read a ton toward the end of like nonfiction that I felt like really, really shaped me. But the biggest one I really think was, again, an old one, Hannah Arendt's Eichman in Jerusalem, I think really kind of ruined me in ways that I didn't anticipate. And it's just amazing how some of these books, I think the books that are classics that still get recommended, it's a really good sign because they really have something timeless about them.
Yeah.
So I think just
Yeah.
paying more attention to that. It also like, I mean, there's just a bunch of like regret much of anything that I read this year. I'll say that. So like it's fine to read like a Riley Sager book. Like fine.
Yeah. 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 I think one of the things that was interesting, because I asked the LLM to like, are there any overarching
Yes.
themes, from looking at our conversations as a whole? And let me see if I can find it. Meta observation. Oh, yes. Let me see. Let me read these. Shared values, independent bookstores over Amazon, supporting original IP, and generous reading. And I feel like you and I really, I really liked that little label, because I feel like that's something that you and I both, when we come, I feel like you and I both, when we come to a book, we kind of come with this sense of openness of, okay, what is there? Is there something here for me to learn? And we're both pretty good about noticing when we don't want to read something, or kind of going, okay, I'm not sacrificing anything by reading this. But when we will come to a book and we want to read it, like we come to it with a sense of being generous with it and recognizing it might not be to our taste, but there's something here for us to learn, or there's some sort of representation that, or perspective that's valuable for us as a member of the human race, kind of thing, you know? And so I really liked, I was like, okay, yeah, I can get behind that. I feel like we
But
do a
it's
good
really
job with that.
encouraging to see that it was able to kind of like come up with that about us. I think that, yeah, my philosophy around reading, I don't think will change much. The chaos of all kinds of
Yeah.
things. My reading as a crutch for my own anxiety, I'm going to try to diversify my crutches here next year, I think. So it may be that I read fewer books, but I definitely think I will probably continue to prioritize the classics. And honestly, like I don't really feel like a need to say whether I'll be reading fiction or nonfiction exactly for the point that you just made, which is that there's something that I'm learning from whatever book I'm reading, whether it's fiction or
Yeah.
nonfiction.
Yeah. 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 I will say for me, our conversations and like the books that you've recommended have been helpful for me in wanting to try things that I would otherwise just not bother reading. You know, like, oh, I texted you the other day. I read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Okay, when I tell you all, I don't cry at books, and I ugly cried at the
Dude,
end
I
of this
know. I had to
book.
pull off on the side of the road. It was so bad.
But that was such a good book. That was one of those books where it's like, could I tell you how it was put together? No, because it was so perfectly put together that the story and the
It was.
characters shone out of that book.
I don't think I'd ever been on such a ride at the end of a book as I was. The like up
Yeah,
and downs that my soul went on in that book, I was like,
yeah, yeah.
holy.
And it's a book that you had talked about and recommended, and it is a book that I know that before our conversations, I would not have given 2 seconds
Well, you
to
had
consider it.
recommended the Mira Grant book, and I really enjoyed that one too. And that was like a really fun one. And I think about the like there's like a part of that book that I think about frequently. And then it also like got me down like some other paths where like now that I read this other short story when I was in Boston about that I sent you. I was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, this is like if you liked the Mira Grant stuff, this zombie book is really cool. And like I
Yeah.
what cued me in on that was it was like I think there might have been like an endorsement from your which that would have never like cued me as like, oh, you're gonna like this book. But once that I'd already read Feed, so I was like, oh, like if this is like that, then I'm definitely gonna read this. So like it's kind of cool how things like sort of just, you know, evolve because of one recommendation. So I think just, yeah, even hearing what other people are reading. I have so many books. Like, honestly, I could never pick up another book again. I have so many recs on my TBR from you that, like, I intend and anticipate on reading. I just haven't had time yet, you know?
Yeah, I know. I think that's been the biggest thing is, you know, just even looking back over the conversations and like what stood out. And I mean, I think I read near the beginning of the year that Five Penalties trilogy, and I'm still in the wake of that book. Like how wow how much that series wowed me and just the world building and the imagination and pulling it together. Love that. And I'm like, would I have been able to articulate that before this year, like before our conversation? So I think one of the things is just that counterbalance to the ephemerality of the internet is the conversations have helped me kind of filter like what really stands out. And what stands out is I could not stop talking
Yeah.
about
I
this.
mean, there's this new thing. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like all the conversation right now about Amazon's releasing this like AI book bot where you can like ask the AI anything about the book. And it's just like
More
another
interesting.
way that like basically they're likely going to because who has the luxury of being like, oh, I'm not putting my book on Amazon Kindle. No one at this point if they
Right,
want ebook
right.
revenue. And you know it's going to
Yeah,
be in the terms and conditions. And you know that if you sign in terms and conditions that you can't, I mean, they're going to use it for LLM learning and you're not going to be able to consent or get any money for it. And so, like, it's one of those things. It's like, why do I need to ask an Amazon chatbot about the book I'm reading? I really think we need to resist talking to machines about, you know, how to make sense of a book. Like talking to each other really has to be the main, you know, the core of making sense of
yeah,
books. And then we could ask machines other questions
yeah,
because, you know, Fable's going to track my stats or you're going to feed our whatever into transcripts, but like the core, like we really need the core first order principles to be like reading and talking to one another about what is striking us.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I've learned is that about myself is I'm terrible at trying to describe the plot of a book. Vibes, this thing happened and it was this, and then and you know what? You just need to read.
It's really good. It's fine. I like seeing people's excitement. Like a plot doesn't typically like make me read a book. It's more just like people's general vibes around them. I'm a vibes reader anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, and I just started reading Chain Gang All Stars. Finally got that.
Okay, so let me tell you where I am quickly. I know we have to wrap this up in a short minute, but yeah.
And also, I just want to show you, I have that much left in reading, my biography of Van
Dude,
Gogh.
I'm impressed that you did that.
Yes, I have that much. It's 1,000-page
Yeah.
doorstop. Like it's a couple pounds. It's at least 3 pounds.
Well, I got a few things I
Right,
want to
so,
finish up this year. I'm working on Trees by Percival Everett, which I think I should be able to finish this year. And Call Me by Your Name, I'm finishing as well. I think I'll be able to finish this year as well. And then, dude, I hope I can finish it, but I started reading. Have you read the book Fox by Joyce Carol Oates?
No.
Okay, I'm not going to curse on this podcast, but like it was the most effed up. This is the most effed up book I've literally ever read in my entire life, ever. But I'm going to keep reading.
There's one book where I feel that way. I couldn't tell you much about the book now, but I read this book called The Beans of Egypt, Maine. It's an older book, like it's not new. That's how I feel about that. Like how you just described about the Joyce Carol
Right,
Oates.
I
That's how
literally,
I feel about that book.
please, anyone else listening to this, I am not recommend if you are into dark stuff, I will explain to you why I'm continuing to read it. But in order for us not to get a content violation on what we post, I probably can't talk about this book at all. It is one of the most, I felt nauseous reading this book.
Oh my gosh.
In a way, not like, ew, that's gory. Like, ew, this is one of the most sick, twisted, and dark things I've ever read in my life. So there's my not endorsement of the book. But why am I keeping to read? I'll tell you. I'll give you a very like surfacey reason. Because there is something about the interior world about these characters that I think she nails. The dark, twisted interior world of people that do very, very terrible things and do not seem to understand how terrible what they are doing is, because they are so transfixed on their own pain that they don't clock how much pain they're causing. So there you go.
There's that. There you go. We didn't get a chance to talk about Catabasis, so maybe we'll kind of revisit that.
Let's do that. I'm not done with it yet. I'm like 4 or 5 chapters in. It's been a little bit. I can't tell if I'm struggling to get into it because I've been busy or because it's just a little bit slow. You know what it kind of reminds me of though? Did you feel like it had Naomi Novik vibes to it? Did you feel like it had Naomi Novik vibes to it?
I can see that. A little bit. I think I really I will say, like I was with it for the first third, and then I had to stop for a few days, and it really took me a while to get into the rest of to finish the book. And I think for me, it was I should have sympathy for the main character because of what she's going through and why she's fracturing. And speaking of which, like she has a spell on her where she can't forget anything. And she's fracturing because she can't forget anything. And that's part of that's part of the story. So I understood, like, intellectually, I was like realizing I'm supposed to have some sympathy for this woman, but I have zero sympathy for this woman. And so I was kind of wrestling with that dichotomy of how am I supposed to feel about this main character going on this
Yeah,
underworld journey
yeah. Well, I'll
kind
be
of thing.
curious.
So anyway,
We
or-
should be. I wish
yeah,
we could. It's like literally in my pile right now, but I want to get through these. They're like
yeah,
surefire
yeah,
done, but I think by January I'll have it done. So
yeah. Well, what for? Do we want to keep doing this in
I would
2026?
like
I
to.
want to. Okay. All right. So we're settled on that. What would is there anything about doing these recordings? Like, would we ever want to bring someone else on? An author, if there was someone we wanted to talk to, or a third person?
Yeah, I think it would be cool. We probably aren't gonna be able to get anybody that has like any form of a following, but if we found some cool like authors or something like that could be kind of cool to like if we read something that was
Yeah.
good.
I mean, I think there was a book where you and I both just really kind of like went over the moon about it. It's just like, not necessarily as a book tour stop, but as a, hey, we really like this and we would love to talk to you about it. I feel like most authors would have no problem wanting to talk to genuinely engaged, I'm thinking, genuinely
Yeah, I think
interested
it just
fans.
depends on how busy their podcast schedules are.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something we can think about.
for
I mean,
sure.
I don't
Yeah, I think also, yeah, maybe thinking through like, I mean, I have that, what is it, Psychopolitics, that other Byung-Chul Han book. So I'd be open to read that or
oh,
something
yeah.
else, maybe picking a couple shorter books since surveillance capitalism was such a behemoth. We could do like some shorter books.
Yes. So, I mean, if there's something where do you feel like maybe Eichman in Jerusalem would be worth talking about? Because
Yeah,
I
I
have
mean,
not read it.
I'd definitely be open to that if you want to talk about it. Or she also has Arendt has the on totalitarianism book, and she has the like human condition one. I'd be cool with any of those.
Yeah. 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 Well, let's stay tuned for what we end up reading because we don't know yet. Our flag is chaos.
Not when we do.
So, well, anyway, as always, Rachel, love it. Love to see it. Can't wait to do more. And for anyone listening, thank you for being with us this year. And we'll see you in the next
Happy
one.
New Year.
Happy New Year.